You can see them.
अस्सलामुअलैकुम जी, सबका मिलन बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया मैंने वर्कर्स पार्टी ने इनवाइट मेरे उर्दू और पंजाबी की शायद में लग जाए और वो भी मैं करना शेयर करूँगी। मैंने क्या किया कि मैं अपनी इनकलाबी शायरी करना शेयर कर शायरी तो होती इनकलाबी खासतौर पर जो किसी वर्कर हो। मैं दसना चाह रही थी कि मेरा सफ़र किस तरह ये कोई 96 ਦੀ ਹੀ ਗੱਲ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਿਨਾਂ 'ਚ ਲਾਈਟਪੁਰ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਸਾਂ ਔਰ ਕੋਲ ਹੀ ਟੈਕਸਟਾਈਲ ਮਿਲ ਸੀ ਕੁਝ ਲੋਕ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ੋਰ ਦੇ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਲੱਗ ਰਹੀ सही है सब ਨੂੰ समझ आ रही और उस टैक्सटाइल मिल ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ एक हादसा है हादसे के नतीजे में बहुत सारे मजदूर मारे गए। उन्होंने मजदूरों में औरतें भी सन मर्द भी सन तो कुछ बच्चे भी सन। अगले दिन अखबार के खबर आई कि चंद मजदूर मारे यानी कि बहुत झूठ बोलिया गया। आई थिंक मैं इन्नी छोटी सी लेकिन मैनू इस तरह का अंदाज़ा होया कि जिहड़ी अखबार असीं हर रोज़ खरीदते हैं खबरां पढ़न उहदे विच पहला तो मैं कि उहदे च सच नहीं बनता। दो चीज़ां मैं होर सीखियां कि मजदूर औरत भी होंदी है बच्चा भी होंदा है अकलीती भी लोग होंदे ने और बुढ़े भी होंदे ने जवान भी होंदे ने। मजदूर वो है जिहदे कोल अपनी मेहनत विच ते अलावा कुछ नहीं आता। दूसरा सबक सी कि ट्रेड यूनियन और तंजीमां जिहड़ियां मजदूरां नूं ऑर्गेनाइज करन पार्टियां जिहड़ियां उन्हां दे इस तरह के खिलाफ और उन्हां ये लैके जान तहरीक जान उन्हां दी बहुत ज़रूरत है। मैं सब तो पहले अपनी उस बचपन के टाइम की एक करना मुहिम शेयर करना चाहती हूँ। अनवान है मजदूर। ये उर्दू पंजाबी मिक्स ही होता है। मैं सोचती हूँ मजदूर जो बेचे मजदूरी क्यों बेबस सा वो रहता है। मजदूर जो बेचे मजदूरी क्यों बेबस सा वो रहता है। जो खून पसीना एक करे क्यों गुर्बत का दुख सहता है। जो महल मीनार बनाता है क्यों झोंपड़ी में वो रहता है। जो अपने हक की बात करे क्यों कैद की सोहबत सहता है। मैं सोचती हूँ तुम भी सोचो। मजदूर की ये मुट्ठी भर हैं चंद जालिम मजदूर की मेहनत खाते हैं। किसानों के सब खेत हरे दौलत इनकी बन जाते हैं। जिन हाथों में कायदा चाहिए ईंटें वो हाथ बनाते हैं। मजदूर की बीवी बेटी को जब चाहे ये उठवाते हैं। ये जुल्म सितम आखिर कब तक हम यूं ही सहते जाएंगे। ये जुल्म सितम आखिर कब तक हम यूं ही सहते जाएंगे। हक सच पर हम कुर्बानी दें आखिर वो दिन अब आएंगे। जंजीरें हों या फांसी हो इस दलदल में चलना होगा। इन मेहनत कश मजदूरों का सबको साथी बनना होगा। मेरे प्यारे लोगों जाग पड़ो मेरे प्यारे लोगों जाग पड़ो वो दौर सुनहरा आएगा। मेरे प्यारे लोगों जाग पड़ो वो दौर सुनहरा दूर नहीं। जालिम को ये बताना है नई नस्ल तो अब मजबूर नहीं। इस नस्ल को मक्कल जाना है नया सूरज लेकर आना है।
मजदूर भी मांगे मजदूर भी मांगे मजदूर भी मांगे वर्कर भी मांगे वर्कर भी मांगे वर्कर भी मांगे मजदूर भी मांगे हमें देनी पड़ेगी अगला सूरज है अगला सूरज है वर्कर भी मांगे मजदूर भी मांगे
अगली नज़म दा अनवान है मेहनत कश मजदूर। लो अपने दे दीवे बाले जीवन तो मजबूर। लो अपने दे दीवे बाले जीवन तो मजबूर। देखी एक दिन जाग पवेगा मेहनत कश मजदूर। जो कमावे खा ना पावे, जो कमावे खा ना पावे ऐ किए दस्तूर। देखी एक दिन जाग पवेगा मेहनत कश मजदूर। हक सच नहीं जे लबना में रौला आओ जरूर। देखी एक दिन जाग पवेगा मेहनत कश मजदूर। कठिया होना मजलूमा ने, कठिया होना मजलूमा ने ओ वेला नहीं दूर। देखी एक दिन जाग पवेगा मेहनत कश मजदूर। चानन चुगियां दे विच होना, चानन चुगियां दे विच होना जागेगा शऊर। देखी एक दिन जाग पवेगा मेहनत कश मजदूर। दिसंबर का महीना है और 2014 विच पेशावर के हादसा दिसंबर जी होया सी। उदों मैं एक नज़म लिखी सी, मैं शेयर करना चाहूँगी। 100 बरे पहले इस जहाने कोई सी जंग बढेरी। 1914 तो 2014 यानी पूरी सदी की गल कर रही है। 100 बरे पहले इस जहाने होई सी जंग बढेरी। लड़ लड़ मर मर बंदियां कीती धरती नाल बथेरी। जंगा कर कर कुछ ना सिखिया वाह बंदिया की कीती। जंगा कर कर कुछ ना सिखिया वाह बंदिया की कीती। बोलन सोचन देखण वाली हर अख आपे सीती। इस बरे भी जुल्म ने थे ऐसी अत मचाई। इस बरे भी जुल्म ने थे ऐसी अत मचाई। शिखर दोपहरे विच पेशावर लाल हनेरी आई। वैशियां हथों बाल नमाणे लहू ना धरती पोची। वैशियां हथों बाल नमाणे लहू नाल धरती पोची। केड़ा सज्जन केड़ा दुश्मन कुछ नहीं दसदा खोजी। वैशियां हथों बाल नमाणे लहू ना धरती पोची। केड़ा सज्जन केड़ा दुश्मन कुछ नहीं दसदा खोजी। खलकत सारी बेवस थे जीवन तो घबराई। खलकत सारी बेवस थे जीवन तो घबराई। कोई नहीं दसदा कोई नहीं सुनदा यारो इथों। कोई नहीं सुनदा यारो इथे लोकां पाई दुहाई। किवें कत्तां ढेर दुखां दा पै गईयां मैं सोची। किवें कत्तां ढेर दुखां दा पै गईयां मैं सोची। उठ नहीं अड़िए चरखा डालै जो होसी सो होसी।
क्या बात है, बहुत खूब।
वरियां दाए जुल्म विरपा इथे ही मुक जावे। वरियां दाए जुल्म विरपा इथे ही मुक जावे। नवी सवेर दा सिमदा सूरज हसदा वेड़े आवे। बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया।
Thank you, Mr. Abbas, for being the voice of the oppressed. I would like to now request Muzammil Mukhtar, who is a party member and has a long association with deaf movements in Pakistan and internationally as well. He has rubbed shoulders with Farooq Tariq and party leaders like Mr. Saab. Thank you so much, Muzammil.
Comrades, this is an Urdu poem. To start with just a brief intro or background of the poem. I wrote this poem back in 2002-03 when several left-wing political activists were concerned as to the strength and segregation within the left in Pakistan. And they were attempting to form a united front of the left to fight against the anti-people, repressive and opportunistic socio-economic and political system in Pakistan. Finally, with the great efforts of leftists like Comrade Farooq Tariq, Abid Hassan Minto and others, 6 or 7 left-wing political parties and other left-wing factions came together to form Awami Jamhuri Tehreek. Comrade Farooq Tariq was among the conveners, along with Abid Hassan Minto, late Mirad Muhammad Khan, Rasool Bakhsh Palijo, and fortunately, I was elected as member of the organizing committee for Punjab. I was the youngest elected comrade for the organizing committee in Punjab, along with Tariq Ali's mother Tahira Mazhar Ali and comrade Amir Hussaini. So, during that time, I wrote this poem in Urdu, and this poem was widely read out in several meetings of Awami Jamhuri Tehreek. For those who do not understand Urdu in this hall, I really apologize. Since a couple of times I tried my level best to translate this into Urdu. However, it was quite difficult for me to translate the essence and the metaphysical base on which it is formed. So, I am now going to read this poem since Comrade Farooq Tariq is present this evening in this hall. And since he came to London, I have become quite nostalgic. So now I am going to read out in Urdu. Really apologize to those who do not understand Urdu. Zeest ke daire mein. This is just few lines from the first chapter of this poem. I am not going to take much time. Zeest ke daire mein, ek zanjeer, khate ufuk mein, ऐन 90 का ज़ाविया बनाते हुए, बंजर ज़मीन से नीलगुम आसमान के जानिब, एक ज़ंजीर खते उफुक में. Sorry, the pitch of my voice is naturally high, so I will try. एक ज़ंजीर खते उफुक में, ऐन 90 का ज़ाविया बनाते हुए, बंजर ज़मीन से नीलगुम आसमान की जानिब, एक दायरा गिरदा गिर्द फसीले शहर के मानंद चौतरफा 6 समतों में फैला हुआ आसाफ का जवान लश्कर पहरे पर मामूर. ज़ीस्त दायरा जवां यादों का एक बंधन, एक जंजीर मजबूत इरादों की. मौत हकीकत वाज़े, कमजोर इरादे मौत. जालिब साहब, इफ्तिखार जालिब नॉट हबीब जालिब साहब, फटते इरादों का रिस्क बंजर वजूद से उठ गया. जालिब साहब, फटते इरादों का रिस्क बंजर वजूद से उठ गया. अब यकीन मुसीबत पाँव नहीं बुलाएगी. सहर वक्त एक लम्हे में बंजर जमीन से नीलगुम आसमान को तकते हुए चिला वतन किए अब तक वजूद के देश से नागवा इरादे. कार्ल मार्क्स जी, तुम्हारी जुस्तजू सदियों और नस्लों का नादिर असासा और हमारे इरादे उसी का 8वां जन्म. कार्ल मार्क्स जी, तुम्हारी जुस्तजू सदियों और नस्लों का नादिर असासा और हमारे इरादे उसी का 8वां जन्म. T.S. Eliot, बंजर जमीन दी वेस्टलैंड. T.S. Eliot, बंजर जमीन अब बंजर नहीं रही. अब के चौमासा के पिस्तान भर आए, बांझ तमन्नाओं को अज़ाइम का हमल ठहरा. और अब ज़ीस्त तलक एक जंजीर खते उफुक में ऐन 90 का ज़ाविया बनाते हुए एक दायरा चौतरफा 6 तरफा आसाफ का जवान लश्कर. थैंक यू सो मच.
धन्यवाद आपका मुजम्मिल साहब। बंजर ज़मीन अब वाकई बंजर नहीं रही। इसी बात पर I would like to invite Tanveer Zaman साहब, if he has like 5 minutes and would like to talk about political movements in Pakistan, especially the progressive left movements.
सब तो पहले तो बहुत शुक्रिया आवामी वर्कर्स पार्टी का कि उन्होंने मौका दिया सारे ख्याल बाएं बाजू की तहरीक के उत्ते बड़ी मुश्किल जी सारी गलबात है कि इन्हू 47 तो शुरू किया जाए या उस जोड़ा एक स्टेट टेररिज्म है उन्होंने ज़्यादा तो स्टार्ट किया जाए। एक लंबी तारीख है जो का पाकिस्तान बने उतों की ओप्रेस्ड क्लास के उत्ते एक मुसलसल स्टेट टेररिज्म भी है और तबकाती दबाव भी है, जिसकी वजह के नाल उतों की जी वर्किंग क्लास है और जी लोअर मिडल क्लास है उन्होंने उत्थे उठने का कोई मौका ही नहीं मिल रहा। उन्होंने पाकिस्तान के कोई खुशहाली दे कोई ऐसे ना उन्होंने कोई आदर्श ने ना उन्होंने कोई ऐसी उत्थे उम्मीद है। ज़्यादा का जमाना तुम देखो ये मदरसे बनाए गए, लोगों की ब्रेन वॉशिंग की गई और उत्थे दहशतगर्दी को स्टेट लेवल के उत्ते पालिया गया और उस वेले बाएं बाजू की जी पॉलिटिक्स सी उन्होंने भी और जी डेमोक्रेटिक पॉलिटिक्स सी उन्होंने भी बड़े जुल्म बरबरीयत के नाल क्रश किया गया और ऐसी एक लीगेसी एक पाकिस्तान की सियासत के विच एक वजूद के आ गई जी कि जिहदे विच पाकिस्तान को बड़ी दूर दूर तक वर्किंग क्लास का वो जोड़ा राज जोड़ा एक रोशन ख्याल पाकिस्तान का कोई ख्वाब देखने की कोई उम्मीद हो सकती सी, मैनू वैसे बड़ी दूर दूर तक दिखाई नहीं दे रही। उत्थे कोई उम्मीद कोई ऐसी कोई हो सकती है तो वो एक छोटे मोटे जोड़ा जिस किस्म की टुटी भजी डेमोक्रेसी चल रही है जिन्नी देर मुल्क है कि इस तरह की ही रहने की उम्मीद है। वो बायां बाजू जिस वीकनेस का शिकार है अपनी जगह दिते है उतों की जी डेमोक्रेटिक फोर्सिस ने उन्होंने भी देखा कि मुशर्रफ के जमाने जो बाद जो इलैक्शन वगैरह होए वो तालिबान को इस हद तक छूट हैगी सी कि वो जिन्हों चाहन जलसे करने की इजाजत दें जिन्हों चाहन इजाजत ना दें। उस वे पीपल्स पार्टी वगैरह या उस वे जो दूसरी जमात सन पीपल्स पार्टी सी उधरों NQM सी या और ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ भी इस्टैबलिशमेंट के बारे किसी किस्म का भी नज़रिया रखते सन उन्होंने सारे क्रश किया बाएं बाजू के बिल्कुल वो बिल्कुल क्रश हो गया। हूँ वो वर्कर्स पार्टी उत्थे जो काम कर रही है इस वे मैं क्योंकि वक्त बहुत थोड़ा है मैं बहुत ज़्यादा डिटेल का तारीख जानना नहीं चाहता। मैं समझदा कि उत्थे वर्कर्स पार्टी या उत्थे ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਬਾएं बाजू ਦੀਆਂ पार्टियां ने ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਬਾਹਰ बैठ के उन्होंने ये डिस्कस नहीं कर सकते कि कि मिलन कि ना मिलन उत्थों की ग्राउंड रियलिटी उन्होंने ज़्यादा बेहतर पता कि की करन। लेकिन मैं ये जरूर इन्होंने सजेस्ट करा मेरा जो ख्याल है मैं बहुत दफा इसका इजहार भी किया अपने कॉलम भी किया कि बाएं बाजू के लोगों को जो ऑप्शन उत्ते है ने वो सिर्फ मेन स्ट्रीम दियाँ कोई पार्टियां जो है ने उन्होंने किसी भी स्टेज के उत्ते लोकल लेवल पर मिल के अपनी आइडेंटिटी बना मतलब अपने तौर पर इंडिपेंडेंटली पाकिस्तान के अपने वजूद को खड़ा करना बड़ा मुश्किल हो गया। उसकी रीजन की है उसका रीजन उत्ते तालिबानाइजेशन है उसका रीजन उत्ते दहशतगर्दी है और मुखालफत को मिलिटेंसी के काउंटर करने का रिवाज पैदा हो गया है। उत्ते बम के लोगों को उड़ा दिया जाता है गोलियां उड़ा दिया जाता है स्टेट लेवल तो भी और सिविल एक तालिबान के लेवल तो भी जिसका नतीजा है कि उत्थे बहुत सारी जी लोगों के कोल एक फ्रीडम ऑफ एक्सप्रैशन सी या जी कोई इस किस्म की अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ हो सकती सर वो अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ उत्ते बिल्कुल नापैद हो गई हैं। हूँ उत्ते मैं समझना कि जोड़े लेवल उत्ते भी जोड़े सूबे भी लोग है जोड़े तरक्की पसंद ने बाएं बाजू के लोग ने या नैशनलिस्ट ने उन्होंने आपस के इतिहाद की जरूरत है और उन्होंने जोड़ा दूसरे जोड़े लोग है उन्होंने जोड़े मेन स्ट्रीम के ने उत्थे लोकली जोड़े भी जगह के अच्छे लोग हैं उन्होंने मिल के इतिहाद करने की जरूरत है ताकि ये खुद भी डेमोक्रेटिक प्रोसेस का हिस्सा बनन। मैं समझना कि डेमोक्रेटिक प्रोसेस का हिस्सा बने बगैर बाएं बाजू उत्थे अपना एक सिर नहीं चुक सकता और इन्होंने अपनी जगह बनाने की बड़ी मुश्किल पैदा होएगी। इस वास्ते इन्होंने असी मेरी फारूक साहब के नाल इस सवाल में एक सवाल भी है कि ਉਹਦੀ ਵਜ਼ਾਹਤ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਆਪਣੇ ਜਵਾਬ ਦੇਣ ਕਿ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਬਾएं ਬਾਜ਼ੂ ਦੇ ਲੋਕ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਦੀ ਮੇਨ ਸਟ੍ਰੀਮ ਪੋਲਿਟਿਕਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਚੱਲ ਕੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਬਣਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਨੇ ਔਰ ਉਹ ਆਪਣੀ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਨੂੰ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਤੱਕ ਪਹੁੰਚਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਨੇ। ਬੜੀ ਮਿਹਰਬਾਨੀ।
Very मेहरबानी. Thank you so much, Terrorism sir, for actually explaining everything in a very concise way in such a short time. Now I would like to give mic to Farooq Tariq sir, who is the national spokesperson of the Awami Workers Party and former General Secretary of the Awami Workers Party, formed in 2012 by the coming together of 3 existing parties, left-leaning parties in Pakistan. He was previously the national spokesperson of Labour Party Pakistan. He is leading at the moment the party struggle, AWP's party struggle in Pakistan, and working along with peasants in Okara and political prisoners in Gilgit-Baltistan. We all know there's been a growing number of Islamic fundamentalism and Islamic fundamentalist groups threatening religious minorities, women and LGBT groups and democratic principles in Pakistan. Today, Farooq Tariq will talk about rise of religious fundamentalism in Pakistan and terrorism for 20 minutes. After that, we'll have an open house and we'll have question answers. Thank you so much.
Comrade Chair and comrades, first of all, I'd like to thank AWP Britain who has organized this occasion to provide us an opportunity to have a dialogue on the situation in Pakistan. And also thank you to Terrorism who organized an evening with some friends in London. I would take up the issue of political situation and also linking that with the rise of religious fundamentalism. First of all, I would like to express our condolences for those who have lost their lives in the PIA plane. All 47 of them who lost their life, it was not their crime that they had to die in this age. However, the whole system has become so weak that such incidents are taking place on a regular basis. So AWP expresses deep condolences with those whose loved one has lost their lives. So, the progressive forces in Pakistan and in South Asia are facing the most serious challenge at this time. The serious challenge of confronting the rise of religious fundamentalism. We have seen the rise of religious fundamentalism in almost all South Asian countries. There is an exception is only Nepal. The rest of the 7 countries of South Asia, you say one way or another, there is a rise of those extreme right, those with extreme conservative ideas, those who are using terrorist activities, who are like new fascists, who are trying to dialogue in the language of the gun. Now we see Bangladesh, we see India, and now in Pakistan, that all these forces have used all these repressive measures to terrify and frighten the whole society. We have seen that the society is moving quite fast towards the right way. This process of Islamization is taking place everywhere. I have seen in my own street more beards, more mosques, madrasas in the areas, and almost every penny which you want to give as charity ends up in the coffers of these madrasas. So there is no sort of social welfare done by ordinary Muslims. But ordinary Muslims are also very happy to donate and give funds through these madrasas. And there is a mushrooming of these madrasas. It's like a vote of no confidence on the public sector education. Almost 9% of the total students who are at the age of school going are now studying in madrasas. Although the private sector, private schools have taken over the public sector in the fields of primary education, over 53% of all students are going to private institutions, private educational institutions, and rest are either in madrasas or in public sector. And we have seen that extreme exploitation of teachers, particularly women teachers, in these primary educational private schools. I know some people who are getting like 3,000 to 4,000 rupees a month for teaching in a primary school. And these are teachers with graduation, post-graduation. It's like giving $30, sometime 30 to, so it's quite exploitative nature of the wages which the private school are providing them. Now madrasas have become really the hub of religious terrorism. Almost all different incidents of terrorism, their link is been going to these madrasas, not only in Pakistan, but around the world. Wherever there is a terrorist activity, it seems that they have been trained by one way or another in the Pakistani madrasas. And these madrasas did not come by themselves. These madrasas were a conscious policy of the American imperialism during the 80s, when there was a new government in Afghanistan, when there was a progressive government in Afghanistan. And this policy of providing help and financial aid to these mujahideen at the time to defeat communism, but it was known at that time. And Hillary Clinton has several times accepted this, that we had no other option but to provide help, and it was not a bad deal, as she would term the support for these mujahideen. So this conscious policy during the 80s, with the help of a military dictator, I spent 8 years in exile because of the military dictatorship of General Ziaul. And that was the time when the process of Islamization started in Pakistan. And a conscious effort to develop religious fundamentalists to counter the influence of what they said communism. And now they are paying the price. They have built this, and now they try to control this beast. But beast is out of their control now. It has come out of the cage. And now we see regular suicidal attacks. And fundamentalism, not only in Pakistan, which is seen through Anjuman Spy Sahaba, Lashkar-e-Jagvi, Al-Qaeda, Daesh, and so on, they are repeating these activities all over the world. And Europe is not safe anymore. We have seen the terrorist activities in Brussels and in Paris, where hundreds have been killed, like the one in Pakistan. But the most terrifying incident that took place was in December 2014. That was the killing of 147 students in an army public school in Peshawar. And during that attack, the fundamentalists were asking the names of students and telling them to recite kalma and then killing them on the spot. It was the most brutal, barbarian act, and almost 12% of the total students died in this incident. including the principal and teachers, which, because these were the sons and daughters of the military, so then the military generals tried to change the course. The Pakistani state has been responsible for promoting this. After 9/11, they tried to change a little bit, tried to maneuver it. While General Musharraf was in power, he was telling the Americans, yes, we are taking action against the fundamentalists. On the other side, they were helping all sort of support, giving all sort of support to these fanatics. It was General Musharraf period, which was like mushrooming of the madrasas. It was General Musharraf period when MMA came into power. So after 9/11, General Musharraf helped fundamentalists to come into power by allotting them a symbol book. The book was presented as Quran Sharif, and they used that symbol, Jamaat Islami, Jamiyat Ulama Islam, Jamiyat Ulama Islam, Samiullah group, and so on, and said, you are not voting for the book, you are voting for the Quran. And it was only our party leader, Farooq Gujjar, who went to Peshawar High Court, and he went and asked the court not to allot them this symbol. Court ordered not to allot, but still the election commission went ahead, and that decision was not implemented. And during that 2002 to 2008, that 5 years, it was a rise in Sawar, Sufi movement. It was rise all over, and at that time, then they have to take some actions, and they have to take a military action. But every military action resulted in mass internal migration of the people. And we have to see that during the Sawat operation, our office of, at that time it was Labour Party, our office in Mardan was full of those internally migrating workers from Sawat, from Mangora, from Matta, from Kalam. And it was like 200 to 300 people sleeping on the floor because they had no other place to go. And it was nearly 1 million people who leave their home at the time. And they have to organize a lot of camps and so on. And it was also that period when the Sufi movement came up. And even all the parties said, Sharia law is good for KPK, good for Sawar. They agreed on that. And even ANP, which was like the so-called secular party, they said, good, Sufi Muhammad can have Sharia law for Sawar, and we can make an exception towards that. But it was the strategies of our liberals, so-called secular forces of PPP, of ANP, that also resulted the growth of these fundamentalists. I remember we attended an all-parties conference, Manto Saab and myself, in Peshawar, where ANP has invited almost all the political parties on the issue of how to deal with the fundamentalists, how to deal with Taliban. Apart from us and Asma Jahangir, every other party said, we must negotiate. We said, how could you negotiate with the fascists? Fascists are there to eliminate, physically eliminating the opponents. These are the new fascists. How could you talk to them? But all parties, including Imran Khan, People's Party, Noon, Kaab, all parties were in favor of negotiation. So negotiating with fundamentalists meant more power for them. They gained time. The first condition, the fundamentalists said, release our people. Release the fanatic and terrorists. And that's how they were able to get some people released. And this was the time when some of the terrorist activities, like they attacked a jail and they were able to break the whole jail and get all of them released in that area. And we also said that there is no solution on military basis. There is no military solution. Now we can see that after 9/11, American imperialism along with NATO forces, were able to occupy Afghanistan. They were able to throw the power, the government of Taliban, and it was all done to eliminate fundamentalism. It was a very United Nations sponsored action. Now I can ask you, every one of you, were fundamentalists more powerful at that time, or they are more powerful at this time? Because if there was a military solution, the state power of Taliban was gone. But once you kick them out of power in Afghanistan, they came to Pakistan. And there was MMA next door, a provincial government MMA who provided them all sort of support to grow in that province. And the net result was more mushrooming of these fundamentalist forces in that area. And so this strategy of militarization, which Americans used on Iraq, which are known for that, but that failed miserably. It has failed earlier, it will fail again. What we say on religious fundamentalism, that they are not an anti-imperialist force. They are not fighting against imperialism, but they are fighting against America. So it was like a more social issue rather than a political issue in that sense. And there are some left wing, particularly in Europe and Latin America, who believe that Taliban are like anti-imperialist force. And we have contested that again and again, and the events and the experience has explained very clearly that they are the most aggressive, conservative, terrorist, fascist force at this time. I have never seen the brutality which these fundamentalists have used. They have burnt alive a Jordanian boy. They put him in a cage and burnt him. They asked the people to stay in line and shoot them. And they not only shooting them, they are using talwar, these swords, to cut their heads. They are the most barbarian force we have ever seen. So there should be no justification or sort of any help or any sort of link with these barbarian forces. Unfortunately, we have political parties in Pakistan, the religious political parties, which are like mother parties of these fundamentalists. They are Jamaat Islami, JUI, Jamiyat Ulama Islam, Samiullah Group, all these parties, which are very well recognized by election commission, which are in the parliament, which have a very close link with the government. Some of them are part of the provincial government. These, whenever there is a terrorist activity, they will not condemn the activities. They will just keep quiet. So is PTI. PTI has the same policy. They will condemn drone attacks, but they will not condemn an attack on a market where ordinary people have died because of a suicide attack. And then after the Peshawar incident, the military has tried to change the relationship of the state with these fanatics. But still, they said at the time, for the first time, we heard, which we were saying all the time, there are no good or there are no bad Taliban in Pakistan. They are all the same. That's what we were saying. And we heard for the first time from the military generals, speaking on TV, saying, we will take action against all Taliban. There are no good or no bad Talibans. But unfortunately, still it is the case that there are good Taliban protected by the military and generals of Pakistan. That's why Cyril Ramaphosa has to face the consequences, because within the meeting, Shahbaz Sharif said that whenever we arrest them, you force us to release them. And we are witnessing in Lahore, whole Chuburji, center of Lahore, is occupied by Hafiz Saeed. Whole Chuburji, first it was one madrasa, then they tried to buy the buildings around, then they bought more buildings. Now when there is a Friday, all areas closed and they are on the main roads praying for Friday. They have Jamaat al-Dawa, which has put up all the camps around Lahore, and they have been presented as the best charity organization. This is charity organization to help the fundamentalist terrorists. They are collecting money from the people and spending it to train the fundamentalists to go for action in India and so on. If the terrorist activity takes place in India or in Afghanistan, they say there are good Talibans. But if terrorist activity takes place in Pakistan, they are bad Taliban. So Pakistan should not be terrorized, only India and Afghanistan. That is the strategy which is still going on. I know that there is a Maridke very near to us. There is a Rama Masood Azhar in Bahawalpur, protected by the army. And right in center of capital, Islamabad, it is Lal Mosque, Mullah Aziz, who fought with the army, killed one colonel. Still he is outside. He was inside at the time when colonel was killed by the fanatic during the last Lal Mosque incident. But they are not sort of given any any state opposition. They are always provided some help. And so link has not been broken. Link are still there. They are trying to do this, and now the escalation of war-like situation with India. These are the second line security forces. So there is a security force, official security force, military. Then there is a second line security force. These are the fundamentalists and fanatics. These fanatics will one day do the same what they are doing in India. At this time, maybe they are doing in India, they can do the same at one time whenever the relationship would change. And the military, what should be done? Because Shahbaz Sharif, Nawaz Sharif, Imran Khan, Asif Zardari, they don't speak about fundamentalism. They don't talk about it. They don't think it's a serious thing. Now this son of Jangvi, who has won a by-election in Jang, now how could he win? He said publicly, and that video is viral on the social media. He said publicly, if you are Muslim, you recite La ilaha illallah Muhammad. But if you want to join Anjuman Sahaba, then you should kill Shia. All Shia must be killed. That's his speeches. So these are sectarian fundamentalists, still provided opportunity to go through parliament, and now he has joined very lightly his mother party, Jamiat Ulama Islam. Jamiat Ulama Islam is like the mother party of the Taliban, which is providing all sort of support, Maulana Fazlur Rahman. And he is like a close friend of Nawaz Sharif, who provided all sort of political help during this conflict with Imran Khan and Nawaz Sharif and so on. So I would just like to say that these are the conditions where we are fighting back. All is not lost. I can give you just two examples where we have tried to fight back. One was, I was among those few who were observing the death anniversary of Salman Taseer at Liberty Chowk in Lahore. And when Salman Taseer was killed by his guard, PPP was in power. He was governor of Punjab. PPP was in power. No one would like to organize anything in Lahore. It was my SMS which I said to some friends, let's get together to pay tribute to a person. I have a lot of political disagreements with Salman Taseer, but let's pay tribute to Salman Taseer, who tried to help a poor Christian woman, a woman worker, a poor Christian woman worker who's been accused of blasphemy. And Sulman Taseer was member of our Socialist Pakistan News SPN list, where we gave for the first time the information that Asia is been accused of blasphemy. When we heard the news, and Sulman Taseer took that information and immediately went to express his solidarity. And then that SMS at the time was spread, and we had a few thousand people outside. It was not PPP, it was all of us. Civil society, NGOs, Progressive Party, also People's Party actually. They came, but it was not done by PPP, whose governor was killed. And then and they don't observe death anniversary. It was us all the time. We never missed any death anniversary of Sulman Taseer. This was like our defiance, that if you kill some person, a progressive person who want to help against fundamentalism, we will not forget. So while we were there, we were attacked by fundamentalists, and we were pushed, we were attacked, we were fired at. There were journalists whose head was broken, and then through our campaign, immediately after that incident, we stopped all the roads, blocked the Liberty Chowk, and then the Chief Minister took the immediate notice, and the result was that a case was registered on anti-terrorist laws, which are normally used against us. For the first time it was used against fundamentalists, and then we followed in the courts. And I can tell you what is happening in the courts. Anti-terrorist. The fundamentalists would bring 200 people, 300 people on each hearing. And who we were? The Abdullah, myself, 2, 3, 4. And it was very terrifying with all these beard men with their turbans, and they were looking towards us as they would kill us immediately or we will be targeted and so on. But we said, no, we will go to the court and we will argue the case. And the court sentenced them for 10 years. It was first incident that fundamentalists got some sentence where they attacked a small thing, and Lahore High Court has maintained that decision. Now they have to go to. And who were those young people who attacked us? They were motivated by a mullah who was invalid, but mullah was able to tell them that because Mumtaz Qadri was like a hero, and now how dare these few people observe the death anniversary of a blasphemer. It was right to kill him. And these young people, they attacked, but later they tried to contact us and apologized, and mafia. We said no apologies accepted. You have to face the consequences. And now they are in jail. And also, when a mullah instigated the alive burning of a Christian couple in Fort Radhakrishnan, it was Pakistan Bhatta Mazdoor Union, Asma Jagir and myself, who went immediately on the spot. We addressed a press conference and we said, we can't accept this. You have burnt alive, and they were accused of also blasphemy, that they have burnt some pages of Quran Sharif, which was total lie. And the whole villagers attacked, and both were burnt alive. It was never happened before in the history of Pakistan that on such cases they should be burnt alive. And the result was that we persuaded the case, and now 5 of them, including the mullah, who at Namaz-e-Fajr instigated everyone, they got death sentence. 10 of them got 2 years sentence, and 93 were declared as who have no fault, and they were let free. So we are trying to do whatever is possible in our power to counter the influence of religious fundamental. But what should be done? I'll just end on this, because I have not really taken up the issue of politics of Pakistan, because of time, but maybe it will come during the question and answer. But what should be done? First of all, we say this state must not have any religion. state and religion must be separated from each other. Because this is like challenging the nature of Pakistani state. And until you do that, we cannot have any solution of religious fundamentalism in Pakistan at all. Because the state provides that political justification, religious justification, that Islam is the only religion and rest are not equal citizens. A Christian can't become president of Pakistan because of that. Why not? I asked during my election campaign. When I raised it in one of the area, one Christian teacher came to me and he embraced me and he said, "Comrade, I have never heard a Muslim saying that a Christian can be president of Pakistan." We raised that issue publicly, consciously. And that is one thing. The other thing we should say, we are demanding, is nationalization of all the big madrasas. Because until you don't tackle the issue of madrasas, the terrorism will remain intact. They will not go away anywhere. You will maybe arrest one, a new generation will come further. Because a young child who's been told that it's free, you have education, you have religious education, you have a residence, you have food, it's all free, so he can be easily motivated to any activity. And we know a comrade who has spent a night at the suicidal camp, and the speeches, the effective speeches these mullah do, mainly based on class, what this life has given to you. He says, this is a bad life, there is a real life, a life after death. We have to achieve that. We have to get that life only when we do something special in this life. This life is only for time. Go for permanent life. You will have 72 women at your mercy and all that. So that sort of propaganda is being done, and young minds are motivated towards that, and the result is that there is a consistent generation of the future suiciders. And that is one of our main demands, that nationalize these madrasas. And we also say, change the syllabus, the educational syllabus in Pakistan. The syllabus is more on war terminology. It always gives you a violent consciousness rather than a peaceful consciousness. ABC, all of it is all the war different items are nominated with that. That has got to change. And now Jamaat Islami in power in KPK, and what they asked, the first thing they asked from PTI government was the Ministry of Education. And they got the Ministry of Education in KPK. And they have changed the syllabus, which some little changes which ANP has made, it has been reverted back. And science is not really science in those syllabus. You might have seen some articles of Terrorism where he has taken those questions up. So that syllabus is also very important. But apart from these conditions, we got to have a concrete, dramatic change in the lives of the ordinary working class. Raise the minimum wage, which they don't do. And also, the working class should give all sort of rights which they deserve, which is not there. Until there is a big class division, until there is a government with the notion that they have to win election and they have to please the fundamentalists and they don't have to take any action. Even PPP, when they were in a process of forming 18th Amendment, Raza Bali said publicly, we have not touched anything which is related to the religion, and all the religious amendments were made by a dictator who has had Bhutto, Ziaul Haq, but PPP was unable to take up those amendments in the constitution. They did not touch. And Pakistan is like a center for all the other Muslim countries. recently I was in Malaysia, and they are also demanding more strict punishments and implementation of Sharia law. So I told the conference, Socialism 2016, that Pakistan is coming to Malaysia. It will be the same what is happening in Pakistan, it will be the same in Malaysia. So it's like, it has an international impact. But the only way we can defeat religious fundamentalism, to build social movements, to build trade unions, to build peasant movements, to change the lives of the ordinary working class, and there's no shortcut or long-term basis. Whenever you talk about this, there is a shortcut solution and there is a long-term solution. Shortcut solution is you bomb them, you kill them, you raid them, and military should be used. And long-term is development through education and so on. But there is no line in between. And we never advocated the military solution, but they said shortcut. They had to take fundamental changes in the constitution of Pakistan, then this real danger to the progressive forces will end. So I will just end over here, and we can take some of the questions.
Thank you so much for explaining our party's stance on Taliban and clearly explaining that Taliban is not a political struggle, it's a militant organization, and Awami Workers Party in Pakistan has a clear stance on that. Now we'll open the house. If people have any questions, please raise your hands. आप उर्दू, पंजाबी, पश्तो, सराइकी इन ज़ुबानों में सवाल पूछ सकते हैं. हम तर्जुमा अगर कुछ चाहते हैं तो कर सकते हैं. और हमारे पास 15 मिनट है, वक्त महदूद है, तो आप अपना तारुफ करा दें और सवाल पूछ लीजिए. पहले मैं जो
Assalamu alaikum everyone, my name is Mohammed Mirza, I'm from London Borough of Muslim. The only thing I want to ask you is, when you said that Islam could be, stay away from the politics and all that, I don't agree with that. Because Pakistan is the second state which is actually formed in the name of Islam after the Medina state. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, I'm not agreeing with that every madrasa is a fundamental. You might say that the madrasa come after 2011 more fundamentalist, because before that, madrasa was actually providing the lodging, logistic and everything to the students. And there are more than 1 crore actually kids there. Otherwise, these 1 crore kids are going to be on the road there. And that is very important. I completely agree with you, fundamentalists going very, very high in the agenda at the moment, going everywhere. Completely agree with you, they should be gone away. But at the same time, you cannot actually take Islam away from the politics. Because Prophet Muhammad ﷺ have a Majlis Shura, which consists of the 40 people there from all different tribes. And whenever he actually says something there, he usually asks everyone before he makes his mind up. So democracy is within Islam anyway. We can't take that away. So as I said, yes, you are absolutely right, fundamentalists growing a lot in Pakistan, but there is a lot of reasons behind it, I think. Poverty is the biggest element. If you, as you said, a trade union and all these could be solution for that. If we eradicate the povertization, because a lot of poor people living there, then they should be okay. Yeah, I did ask a question about Thank you. Thank you.
आपने नाम बताया? टाइम है, शुक्रिया. हम 2-3 सवाल ले लेंगे, उसके बाद हम आपके इधर पहले सवाल.
Very briefly, comrade, I was reading your book on my way to Manchester on the other day. You have made a suggestion that about the Taliban, that they are barbaric force. My question is related to the international perception on this issue. Because when I read international socialism, I read New Left Review and other left-wing papers. There are several articles which were published over the last few years which seem to suggest that they are anti-imperialist force. Even Dr. Riaz from Karachi wrote a detailed article last year that they are anti-imperialist force. So I would like to ask from your first-hand experience based on ground realities, what's the reason as to this segregation between the left and and I would like you to expand on this issue, please.
Farooq Sahab, in your last point you said there are constitutional amendments and education is a key to get rid of the fundamentalism. My question is how well prepared you are for democratic politics in Pakistan, and what is your stance about the upcoming election, general election in 2018? So how you will present yourself to people to win the support and make these constitutional changes? Thank you.
Tarsam, thank you for your question. I don't agree that religion could be based for a nation. That's why Pakistan, which was based on religion, could not survive. And Bangladesh got independence. A nation is the basis for a state, not religion.
Yes.
And there was there were two states, Pakistan and Israel, which were established on the basis of religion. And later it was Iran and then Afghanistan. Now we see the result, what Israel has done to the Middle East and what Pakistan has done to the world on this issue. So I think that Pakistan has to be a secular state. Otherwise, a state which should have no religion. When I say secular state, that does not mean a Ladini state. Religion should be personal. It should be there should be freedom of religion for every citizen, but not the state should not take responsibility. So once state takes the responsibility, then comes what sort of Islam the state should have. And now we see the different sectarian divisions in Pakistan, Shiites, Sunnis, Wahhabis and so on. And that's one thing I would say. And second, you rightly said, I did not mean every madrasa. I agree with you on this, that it's the not every madrasa, but most of madrasa at this time has become like this. And also, then I will take one question with Muzammal has raised on the question of anti-imperialism of the Taliban. I have read an article of Kabul Farooq Saleria, who's sitting here. He wrote Anti-Imperialism of the Fools, and he gave the reasons why they are not anti-imperialism. Anti-imperialism is not just that you take over, imperialism is not just you take over another state by political, economically, but imperialism has a vast meaning. It means also women rights, it means children rights, it means religious minority rights, it means more democracy. So all those are anti-imperialist gestures. But when you see the fundamentalists, they are against pluralism, they are against democracy, they don't consider women as equal to man, they give all sort of support against the religious minorities. The religious minorities are the real target for them. I don't think they are anti-imperialist, they are anti-West, that we can say, but not anti-imperialist. And those comrades who write these articles are not taking the correct line. We have argued with them, and in Pakistan we have seen that if they were anti-imperialist, then anti-imperialist forces in Pakistan should have been more developed, but what we have seen is the fundamentalist forces who have developed. And I can give you one example of Iran. When Khomeini came back, the Communist Party of Iran gave full support to the new government because they have fought against the Shah. But once the fundamentalists came into power, the first act they did was killing of all the communists, and the CP was banned, and now you see there is no Communist Party in Iran and so on. So they are not anti-imperialist as someone has written. And Gyani sahab, मैं आपकी बात थोड़ा सा उर्दू में जवाब देना चाहता हूँ. देखिए, अवामी वर्कर्स पार्टी के इस वक्त पाकिस्तान में 153 इलेक्टेड काउंसलर, हमने वो जमहूरियत वाला जो रास्ता को छोड़ा नहीं। हमने पिछले लोकल बॉडीज़ के इलेक्शन में कई ज़िलों में बड़ा जोर लगाया, टोबा टेक्सिंग में भी और KPK के मुख्तलिफ अजला में, जहाँ से हमारे काउंसलर मुंतखब हुए। हमने एक काउंसलर कॉन्फ्रेंस की इस्लामाबाद में, जिसमें सब काउंसलर्स को हमने इकट्ठा किए और मुस्तकबिल में हमने उनसे पॉलिटिकल बात की कि हम किस तरह और आगे जा सकते हैं। हमने 2013 के आम इंतखाबात में भी हिस्सा लिया। हम वो लेफ्ट नहीं है जो बाहर बैठ कर जद्दोजहद करेगा, और जैसा तमीज़ मां ने कहा कि इस फील्ड को, जो जमहूरियत वाला फील्ड है, इसको छोड़ा नहीं जा सकता। ठीक है, हम जीत नहीं सके, और कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी बेस्ड जो इलेक्शन है पाकिस्तान, उसमें हमारा जीतना बहुत मुश्किल है, क्योंकि मुतनासिब नुमाइंदगी नहीं है, प्रोपोर्शनल सिस्टम नहीं है, और कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी बेस में जो सबसे ज़्यादा अमीर है वो सबसे ज़्यादा वोट ज़्यादा ले जाता है। और चूँकि एक रेवोल्यूशनरी वेव तो है नहीं, पाकिस्तान में इस वक्त एक काउंटर रेवोल्यूशनरी पीरियड है। बहुत बुरे हालात से हम गुजर रहे हैं। हमें तो अपनी जान का डर रहता है कि क्या होगा हमारे साथ। हमें तो किसी ने कल पूछा कोई डर नहीं लगता, मैं कहा डर खत्म हो गया, क्योंकि क्या करेंगे डर के, या तो फिर हम पाकिस्तान छोड़ दें, कई जगह चुप करके बैठ जाए, या फिर हम जद्दोजहद जारी रखें। कोई तहफ़्फ़ुज़ नहीं है हमारे इससे। लेकिन इसके बावजूद पार्लियामेंट में जाना बड़ा ज़रूरी है। पार्लियामेंट में लोगों के बहुत ज़्यादा इल्यूजन है। जमहूरियत नज़र ही पार्लियामेंट से नज़र आती है, और पार्लियामेंट में जाने के दो तरीके हैं। एक तो आप किसी बोर्जुआ पार्टी के साथ लिंक करना, जो सरमायादार पार्टी, वो हम करना नहीं चाहते। हमें पीपल्स पार्टी ने 2013 के इंतखाबात अलायंस बनाने की बाज़ाब्ता दावत दी थी, बाज़ाब्ता दावत दी, हमने इनकार किया। मुझे 2008 में आसमान जगीर ने कहा मैंने कि आप पीपल्स पार्टी के टिकट पे इलेक्शन करें। मैंने कहा मैं 10 और इलेक्शन में इंतजार कर सकता हूँ, लेकिन मैं अगर कभी इलेक्शन में कामयाब हुआ तो मैं अपनी पार्टी के प्लेटफॉर्म से ही कामयाब होना चाहता हूँ। मैं किसी और पार्टी के प्लेटफॉर्म से इलेक्शन लड़ने, मैं पीपल्स पार्टी के प्लेटफॉर्म से जीतूंगा तो मैं पीपल्स पार्टी का हूँ, मैं उसका प्रोग्राम करूँ, उसका प्रोग्राम तो सिस्टम को कंटिन्यू करना है। और मैं अगर उसकी मदद से जीतूंगा तो उनके खिलाफ कुछ नहीं कर सकता, मैं कोई बात नहीं कर सकता। ठीक है, आज हम नहीं जीतेंगे, कल जीतेंगे। हमने लोकल बॉडी से आगाज़ किया है। अभी हमारी पार्टी की मीटिंग हो रही है 24 और 25 दिसंबर को लाहौर में। इलेक्शन स्ट्रेटजी इज ऑन दी कार्ड, और हमने वहाँ पे कहा है कि कम से कम 100 उम्मीदवार खड़ा करें, परसेंटेज ऑफ वोट को तामीर करने की कोशिश करें। देखिए, मुझे यकीन है कि अगर हम 100 उम्मीदवारों को पाकिस्तान में खड़ा कर दें, हमारे पास कुछ भी ना हो, हम 2-3 लाख वोट ले सकते हैं। और अगर हम इस तरह एक परसेंटेज बनाने में कामयाब हो जाए, वो लोगों के शौर में बात आ जाए। शायद हमें 100 एक जगह से मिलेंगे, 1000 एक जगह से मिलेंगे, 2000 एक जगह से मिलेंगे। मैंने 3 दफ़ा इलेक्शन लड़ा है, इलेक्शन से हम कुछ लूज नहीं करते। हमारा कोई डर नहीं है कि हम हार जाएंगे, लेकिन इलेक्शन में हमें डायलॉग का मौका मिलता है, गुफ्तगू करते हैं, लोग याद करते हैं। जहाँ से मैंने इलेक्शन लड़े लोग अभी तक याद करते हैं। टोबा टेक्सिंग मेरा अपना गाँव है, वहाँ से भी मैंने इलेक्शन लड़ा है, 60 जलसे किए। आज अवामी वर्कर्स पार्टी, वहाँ घर घर में हर बंदे को पता है कि एक पार्टी है जिसका नाम अवामी वर्कर्स पार्टी। हमने बड़े जलसे किए। तो ये तो हम फील्ड नहीं छोड़ेंगे, क्योंकि इस फील्ड के बगैर हम पार्टी को आगे लेके नहीं जा सकते। लेकिन उसकी प्लानिंग हम कर रहे हैं, कंक्रीट प्लानिंग कर रहे हैं, प्रोग्राम दे रहे हैं, मंशूर बनाएंगे, और मैं उम्मीद है इस तरीके से कुछ ना कुछ हम ज़रूर 2018 के इंतखाबात में कुछ अचीव करेंगे। हमारी पार्टी के जो न्यूली इलेक्टेड सदर हैं फानूस का, पहले मंटो साहब थे, और हमारी पार्टी के कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में ये बात थी कि आप 2 दफ़ा से ज़्यादा इलेक्शन लड़ सकते। देखिए, जितनी हम बाहर जमहूरियत को अहमियत देते हैं, उतनी हम इंटरनल जमहूरियत को भी अहमियत देते हैं। हमारी पार्टी बाहर भी जमहूरियत के लिए लड़ रही है, अंदर भी जमहूरियत लड़ रही है। तो हमारी पार्टी के कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में था कि 2 दफ़ा से ज़्यादा आप किसी ओहदे पर नहीं रह सकते। आई वॉज फाउंडिंग जनरल सेक्रेटरी ऑफ द पार्टी, फिर मैं दोबारा री इलेक्ट हुआ पहली कांग्रेस में, लेकिन मेरी 2 टर्म्स पूरी हो गई, मंटो साहब 2 टर्म पूरी हो गई। अब हमारी नई लीडरशिप आई, उस लीडरशिप को हम प्रमोट कर रहे हैं, उसको हम आगे लेके जा रहे हैं। और हमारे जो प्रेसिडेंट हैं फानूस गुज्जर, ये लगता है जैसे गुज्जर कोई ज़ात उन्होंने लिखी हुई है, लेकिन गुज्जर KPK में सबसे ज़्यादा एक्सप्लॉइटेड एक ग्रुप है, जो पश्तूनों के हाथों में उस तरह ही है जिस तरह पंजाब के कमी कमी है। इसी तरह KPK में गुज्जर जो है वो सबसे ज़्यादा एक्सप्लॉइटेड है उस एरिया में। वो उनका लीडर है और उसने जो भी इलेक्शन लड़े उसमें कभी 15,000 वोट, कभी 20,000 वोट, कभी 25,000 वोट, वो हमेशा एक बेस है उसका। तो हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं पार्लियामेंट में पहुँचे, लेकिन अनहोली एनालिसिस के बगैर हमारी पार्टी के मंशूर में ये बात सब फंडामेंटलिस्टों के साथ कोई इत्तेहाद नहीं करेंगे। बाकी सारी जमातें मजहबी जुनूनियों के साथ वन वे अदर इत्तेहाद करती हैं। हमने ये तय किया हुआ है, मंशूर में लिखा हुआ है कि मजहबी जुनूनी गुफ्तों, मजहबी जमातों और जुनूनी गुफ्तों के साथ कोई इत्तेहाद नहीं करेंगे।
अब हमारे पास 1, 2, 3, हमारे 8:25 हो गया। एक पहले राउंड 3 सवाल आते हैं, लेकिन उन्होंने पहले हाथ खड़े सिर्फ सवाल कमेंट ना।
Farooq Khan sahab, I just want you to explain, Pakistan was never created on the name of Islam. It was only taken over when Liaquat Ali Khan brought in Hamid from Paris.
Thank you for the comment. Now we'll take the other questions.
मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि आपने फंडामेंटलिज्म के खिलाफ पार्टी की बड़ी जद्दोजहद है, लेकिन अवामी पीपल्स पार्टी के हवाले से मैं ये पूछूँगा कि पाकिस्तान की वर्किंग क्लास की क्या सूरत हाल है, पार्टी किस लेवल पे उनके साथ काम कर रही है, आपके किसानों में क्या काम कर रहे हैं, मजदूरों में क्या कर रहे हैं, क्या डिफ़िकल्टीज हैं, और पार्टी ओवरसीज़ वर्कर्स के बारे में क्या पॉइंट है। पाकिस्तान के बहुत सारे लोग बाहर काम कर रहे हैं और हम बहुत कम सुनते हैं कि पार्टी क्या सोच रही है।
Thank you very much, Farooq. You started at the beginning of your presentation, you talked about fundamentalisms across South Asia. From my point of view, sitting in Britain, it's important to recognize that there isn't only Islamic fundamentalisms, that there's fundamentalism growing in all world religions. And I'm particularly interested to hear, and I know you talk about it in the book, but I think it would be good to talk about it tonight, about how the election of Modi in India and the growth of the ideology of Hindutva mirrors what's going on in Pakistan and the way the two things feed into each other. I think this is really important in the context where in the West we only talk about, the main media only talks about Islamic fundamentalism and uses that to attack ordinary Muslims who have no truck with this rubbish.
Just 30 seconds, please. Carrying on from what Lashari Saab said, and this is about people, Pakistanis who live in Britain and want Sharia and Islam in Pakistan. UK रहे secular, Pakistan रहे Islami, लड़की क्लब में गोरी हो पर बीवी पाकिस्तानी. So as poisonous as it is, this poisonous challenge of religion and politics, we need to keep it away. The question is, what is the party's stance on the first conversions of Christian and Hindu girls in Sindh? Because the People's Party has tabled a bill, and where do we stand on that? Thank you.
I'm from the United States. You can hear it out from my voice. And there, I'm sure everybody knows, they just elected, and I say they, just elected this narcissistic, bigot idiot. Some people call him the Great Pumpkin. And who was one of his strongest bases of support was the Christian fundamentalist. Despite the fact that he violated every single so-called moral code of ethics that they were supposed to stand for. Raped women, sexually assaulted them, and so on. And the Christian fundamentalists were his strongest base of support. Now you're seeing, as a result of his campaign, this steady drumbeat of assaults and harassment of Muslim people there. And one thing that's happening, I thought maybe some people would be interested, is you're now seeing Muslim women starting to take self-defense courses and to train themselves to fight back. But I wanted to make another point about the relationship. Well, okay, so my question to you, Farouk, the other point is, as far as the relationship of religion and the state, and also as far as the Jewish religion and the Jewish state. And you speak of fascist forces rising there. So we comment on that.
Thank you. We will take one last question. Please be precise and take only questions from
Thank you. I'll make the question very quick. I was interested to hear what you said, and I think it would be good to have this speech said more around the European left particularly, who I think have been very slack in taking up the question of fundamentalism, whatever it may be. The fact that we have a British MP, for instance, in Keith Vaz, who could both support the fatwa against Salman Rushdie and welcome Narendra Modi with open arms to speak at Wembley Stadium, I think says a lot about the hypocrisy of bourgeois politicians. My question is whether the Islamists have done any sort of, or tried to organise at all in the trade unions within the labour movement, because presumably they must realise even if they're small, they are potentially a threat to their power, a threat to their hegemony. Has there been any attempt by them to try and influence those or set up their own organisation, labour fronts of any kind?
Thank you so much. Now, these were the last questions. Thank you.
Well, I agree on Mushtaq Achari's contribution, what he said briefly. Pakistan, when it was established in 47, Qaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah had no intention to have an Islamic state in the form which fundamentalists are presented. He was talking about tradition of Muslims in the hands of Hindus and ending of that. But his speech of 11th of August was one of the manifestation of that. It was only afterward when this purpose resolution came, and then whole things changed. Dr. Iftikhar Sahab ne Awami Workers Party और what is the situation of the working class? So I will just let you know that Awami Workers Party at this time is engaged in developing some movements in Pakistan, and one of them is a peasant movement at Okada military farms, which there are 18,000 acres of land cultivated by tenants for last 100 years, and they were promised again and again that this land will be given to you, and the promise was made by Benazir, promise was made by Nawaz Sharif and also Imran Khan publicly in public platforms. But since this National Action Plan has emerged, fundamentalists and pluralists are free, but most of the leaders of this peasant movement are in jail at this time. 9 of them are arrested and they have been accused as raw agent. And the proof is that one of them has visited Nepal to attend a peasant meeting. I have also gone to Nepal several times, so I am more raw agent than that comrade. But that, in that sense, they invaded his home after his arrest and said, we have got like 85,000 Indian rupees as proof. But the other thing they did was very barbarian. They brought 6 people from outside and killed in one of the villages at Okada military farms and blamed this Anjuman Muzari in Punjab that they are giving refuge to religious fundamentalists, and so a new case was registered against them. We immediately contradicted that and said, no, these people do not belong to the village, they were brought from outside, and they might be fundamentalists, but they are not from this area. And later the Lal Masjid, Shohada Foundation, they said we recognize 2 of them who were arrested a year before. And they were brought out of jail to be killed in Okada just to blame the peasants that they are the protection of the religious freedom. But I tell you one more example of it. This Anjuman Muzari of Punjab, during the local body's election, nominated for the seat of chairman a Christian in Rajjaga, and with him was a Muslim as vice chairman. Normally, you do not bring a Christian at the top of the list. You only bring like councillor or maybe vice chair or something like that. But we asked this Christian from a constituency where 80% voters were Muslims. And if Khar Jagga won with 453 votes, because in that constituency, issue was not religion, issue was movement. And when I met him and I congratulated him, I said, look, Don and others have given you very special. He said, well, when we were campaigning, I was not campaigning as a Christian citizen, I was campaigning as a tenant. So my religion was on the back seat. My class base was on the front side. And that's how he won that election. So that's how the Awami Workers' Party is helping the peasant movement. And we have tried to help their, give them legal aid, provided a lot of financial help, collected funds and gave it to them, asked them to organize meetings, speak to them. And last time I and our party president went to visit the village and around 500 turned up. It was a meeting, but now 9 of them are in jail. And so is the case of another comrade, Ghulam Dasgir Mehboob. He's in jail for 4 years already. Now he's a 75-year-old person. And I know him because we had worked together against privatization when we formed our first organization in Pakistan during Benazir Bhutto's time, 89. It was Anti-Denationalization Action Committee. Ghulam Dasgir Mehboob was our leader of that campaign against privatization. Now police raided a small village, arrested most of the male, Dera Sehgal, near Lahore, and it's a question of 5 Murabba, where Asaf Sehgal got them to vacate. These tenants would not vacate. So police came to help the capitalists, and they arrested most of the male. Then the woman came on the main road, protested, and then police came and they fired at the protester. One protester was killed on the spot, and later police claimed that one of our policemen has been killed by the protester. And Ghulam Dasgir Mehboob went there just to stop this violent action of police. He was pleading with police, don't fire, don't tear gas, just talk to these tenants. Later this Ghulam Dasgir was framed for 2 murder cases, police, and the other one, he is now for 4 years in jail. So is our party activist Babajan in jail, who is in Gilgit-Baltistan, and he tried to help the climate change victims, and the result was that he is given a life sentence along 12 others. So our party has tasted the first state repression because of our deep-rooted link with the peasantry, with the working class, and so on. But we are trying to organize more trade unions, and that's the only way we can go a little further and so on. And also our policy on overseas is very clear. We know very well that fundamentalism is spreading more than Pakistan among the migrant community in Europe and also in Middle East and also all other areas. More mullahs are coming outside. Every mullah is given a visa. I was refused a visa last time. I have been many times to this country. Never had a visa violation. But I was refused, but mullahs are whenever you travel, all the mullahs are traveling along with you. And migrant workers are the main source, one of the main source of the funding of these mullahs. So, if you want to do something good, noble, okay, you give money to madrasa. I mean, Awami Workers' Party should be supported by the migrant workers because we are working for the working class. But most of the working class at this time is in the grip of the fundamentalists. So mullahs are coming here and taking all the money. Tarul Qadri, you have seen how rich he is and how he used that money for the grow, and he was talking not just for the justice of the people who killed. We sympathize with those who have been killed by police, and we totally condemn police action of PML against the workers of Awami Tehreek. But he was asking military to take over. Come and ungli khadi karo. Or he was expecting a military takeover at the time, which we opposed. So fundamentalists are very happy whenever there is a military takeover. That is like their own people. So we are opposing that. And for the migrant workers, I was in Malaysia. We are taking some initiatives, and we are appealing all the migrant workers that they should join the local labor movement. Progressive party, progressive groups, and also they should form some sort of anti-racist groups, and also they should oppose this racist and also this so-called also the Islamophobia which has been spread here. But the main issue is not religion. Religion cannot protect the migrant community. They are more isolated. They have become more religious, and they are more isolated, and they are more under attack. And that's not a solution. We have to present our argument on this. And also we demand voting right for all the migrant workers. They should be able to vote as many other countries have done on that issue. On Modi, you are absolutely correct. What has happened in India, where Hindu fundamentalism is spreading like anything. And we know this incident where one Muslim was just killed by the mob because he had some cow meat in his fridge. What they said is a cow meat in his fridge, and that's how he was killed. And so-called saffron movement of BJP has made the life of millions very uncertain. Earlier, the Muslim community, which is a minority community in India, was saying, we are very happy in India. Now you hear them. They are very uncertain at this time. And when Nawaz Sharif was talking to Modi, we said, you are talking to a fundamentalist. A person who is taking action against Muslims in India. How could he be a friend of Muslims of Pakistan? It's impossible. And we have seen also the great general strike of Indian workers. 118 million people came into strike. One of the largest strikes of the human history, where workers came to say, pay us the minimum wage, pay us a living wage, not just minimum wage, pay us a living wage. And despite all the efforts of Modi, that strike in India went on. We have links with the progressive forces of India. We want to develop that to compete the rise of Hindu fundamentalism as well as the Muslim fundamentalism. There is no other way we can go on. And now I just like to say on the John has raised the issue of Jewish fundamentalism. And in Pakistan, every incident is Yehudi made. Whether Yehudo Nasara ki sazish hai, conspiracy of the Jewish. So every little aspect is conspiracy of Jewish. But we know the Jewish fundamentalism, the growth of Jewish fundamentalism has also made the lives of millions miserable, and also the more support for the war industry and that sort of, and Trump is there to accelerate this process in future. And I have seen his comments about Muslims and so on, but there is no way they can go on that basis a bit further. Last thing I will say on trade unions in Pakistan, only 3% of the working class is organized in trade union. 1%. Milers
report.
Yes, we have also some reports. I know that report as well. But less than 3%, I say, are organized in trade unions. They are not paid any social security. There is a good, very good progressive social security system in Pakistan. If it is implemented, it's very good. You have free education for the children. You have JS fund. You have free health facilities. you have a pension fund. It's a good if it's implemented. One of our main demand is issue social security card to every worker in Pakistan. And our curriculum workers are in the forefront to demand, they said many thousands have been issued because of our movement. Where there is a trade union, the condition of working class starts to change. Better wages, better safety. Where there is a low movement, working class has been exploited like anything. And Punjab has become a hub of industrial accidents. Shahbaz Sharif has given, despite all his rhetoric, so-called progressive rhetoric, he has given a free hand to all the capitalists to do whatever you like to do. He is moving around, and wherever there is an industrial incident, he is going there, 5 lakh rupees, I give you 10 lakh rupees. And we know this incident which took place in the industrial state Sundar, where workers were burnt, were just under the, when the building collapsed. There is no labor inspection at all. Despite labor inspection is lifted now, we know from our own experience, labor inspector says, if we go to any factory to inspect labor, about child labor, about implementation of minimum wage, about women workers' condition, if they have a toilet or not, if they are paid equal wages, they are kicked out of the labor department. Labor department is there just to protect the capitalist class, unfortunately. And one of our main campaign is also against the labor bureaucracy, which is not helping the working class what is meant to be. And Shahbaz Sharif development paradigm has made the lives of millions in Lahore miserable. Now you should imagine a 27-kilometer orange line, total budget of this is 240 billion rupees for 27-kilometer line. And the total budget of Balochistan is 289 million. So whole province yearly budget is only 40 billion more than just 27 kilometers. It's a madness to think that London can come to Lahore. Or you can build, because all the infrastructure built here was a product of the years and centuries of exploitation internationally. That's how they were able to build the infrastructure. But in Pakistan, they can only exploit us. They don't occupy other countries. They're not like the imperialism, like the British imperialism. He can only, and they are presenting CPAC as a rescue, as one of the main achievements they can have. We can tell very clearly, roads, building of roads does not fill my stomach. I need better wages, I need better living, I need an honorable wages. We don't need charities, we don't need roads, just roads. Roads, yes, sanitation, yes, but first we need a living wage. That's the main thing which they don't do in any case. And we have campaigned against Orange Line in Lahore. The paradigm of development, we have rejected that. Because they think if you build road, you will win votes. They only think of votes. For them, all you and me are just votes. How to win your vote, that's all. If they can't win vote, they use money, direct money, to buy votes and so on. And that's where we are fighting against them. I was present in several hearings when the Orange Line case was heard. Fortunately, the court has stopped at 11 different places the construction of this Orange Line, and the case is in Supreme Court. And we think there should be better traffic. We want development in Pakistan, but not development at the cost of the social development. First human development, and then we want the other developments in that.
Thank you so much, Karmkar Saab. So we would like to end our public meeting today here. आप सबका बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, बड़ी बड़ी मेहरबानी किसी इतना टाइम देते हैं। रेहान खुशी देखें नाले हाशमी साहब चाय का इंतजाम किया है नाले समोसे पकौड़े में प्रेस वाले जेह्ड़े साढ़े दोस्त वाले भी सिर्फ चाहिए प्रेस रिलीज है कि कार साहब बनाई ते लैंदे जान बड़ी बड़ी